Hi, I'm Gail.
Hi, I'm Catherine. Welcome to Women Over 70, Aging Reimagined, our award-winning weekly podcast. Visit womenover70.com and learn how you may become engaged with our community through Aging Reimagined Circle. And we hope to see you at our next online monthly meeting. We want to thank our sponsor, Skintensive. As skin ages, it becomes more fragile and bruises easily, especially on the back of your hands or forearms. I'm loving Skintensive Bruise Cream, developed by Harvard-trained dermatologists specifically for mature skin. It gently moisturizes and helps bruises fade faster. Find it at skintensive.com. For 25% off, use the code capital W, capital O, 70. That stands for Women Over 70.
And today we have in our studio with us Judy Smith. Judy is 70 and she has a debut book that we're going to talk about, a novel. And Judy painfully learned that her partner had lapsed yet again. And Judy knew it was time to leave for good, and she set out on her own to rediscover herself. She was no stranger to challenge. In her 40s, she dealt with a debilitating form of epilepsy, which changed the trajectory of her life. Now she's turned to writing and embarked on a novel that critics call a big-hearted novel about finding fulfillment in the third act. It's original, witty, and deftly crafted with an emotionally engaging style. The book, Golden Years Glitch, published by Wyatt Mackenzie, is a romantic novel, comedy set in a senior community. And the friendships are fierce and love still has plenty of surprises in store. So this is the book, Golden Years Glitch. Beautiful color cover, Judy. I love the cover.
Thank you.
And so welcome to Women Over 70, Aging Reimagined.
Thank you very much.
When we spoke, you said that the novel took you out of your comfort zone. So let's start there. Do you want to expand on that?
It did. It would have been easiest to continue to hide under my covers when I found out about my partner's infidelity, which I found out when he posted a conversation with another woman on Facebook publicly. He thought he was doing it privately. So I was humiliated. My family, my friends, my neighbors, my grandchildren, everyone could see it. So it wasn't that I was dealing with it alone. It was that everybody knew about it. Mm-hmm. I live in an over 55 community. So when anybody found out there, then soon everybody knew. So my first instinct was I wanted to move. I wanted to move as far away as I could. The last thing I wanted to do was stay and face anybody who knew what I was going through. So when I started to write, it wasn't with the intention of writing a book with the similar characters in it. It was just something that I felt like I needed to do. So it took a lot for me to step out of that and say, okay, I'm going to make a novel out of this. So it wasn't what I had planned.
You got carried away with your own story?
I did. And it was very, therapeutic and cathartic, and it helped me, especially when I started to make fun of things. Then it helped me.
Yes.
I have a little humor in it, a little revenge.
There's a lot of humor in the book.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. And I think that's one of the reasons that you can talk about all these topics you talk about, because of the humor element, which
made everything easier for me.
Right. Yes, right, for sure. But before we get into the book, let's talk a little bit about your epilepsy and the survival of that. It sounded like you had quite a difficult period.
It was a very difficult time. I had had a brain concussion when I was 8, and it lay dormant until I was in my 40s. And it came out fiercely. I had grand mal seizures, like my life stopped because the seizures came. And it took a long time. It took several years to get it under control, to find the right medication. When it happened, I couldn't drive for years. I had a business at the time and I couldn't even get to my business. I had to have someone take me. It was also the fear of having seizures. So I was afraid when I would go out of the house that I was going to have a seizure. I was afraid when I was in the house and I was alone, what happens then? And it took a long time for me to become okay with the fact that I might have a seizure in front of somebody, that I might embarrass myself terribly by having a grand mal seizure. It was a long 5-year journey before they had it under control. And I still have some seizure activity, but nothing like I did before. And I'm able to drive, very limited driving, and only during the day and only within like a mile range to where I can get a few places. So there's still some issues, but I learned a lot from having epilepsy. I learned to slow down my life. I learned to be okay. I learned to be stronger. Because I couldn't get to my business, I had to be dependent upon people. And in a strange way, it made me a lot stronger. It gave me a lot of confidence. It took a while, but I think by being forced to slow down, that helped me.
Would
How
you,
did people react when you were having a seizure?
That was hard because it would frighten a lot of people. Now, my children who are obviously adults now, but my daughter was in college and my son was a teenager. So my son in particular, it was just him and I living in the house, he had to learn what to do. And he handled it very well. Other people, they were frightened by it. It's not pretty to look at somebody having a seizure. It's not, it's really uncomfortable. I mean, to be very blunt, you lose your bladder control. It's an ugly thing that happens. And it's just not comfortable. I don't have grand mal seizures anymore. Now I just have tonic seizures. They're more like a staring type of seizure and some shaking, but nothing like I did before. That's all under control.
Mhm. Well, thank goodness for that. We're happy.
Yes, wonderful new medicine. Yes.
Right. So are you on medicine all the time to control?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Can you, for our listeners who may not know too much about epilepsy, could you just explain a little bit about what that means when you say you have a seizure or what happens?
Most of the time, it's not true with everybody, but most of the time I could sense that I was going to have a seizure. It's just like this strange feeling that I would get. And then it's usually right after that, I would have enough time to make myself in a safe place. And then I'm not sure what happens, but I wake up exhausted. Sometimes, hopefully, I don't hurt myself. But it's that fear that you don't know how bad it's going to be. Or then I was creating the fear because of just being worried that I was going to have a seizure. That was almost as crippling as having the seizures. Because I was just, like I said, I was embarrassed. I didn't know what would happen. I'd be afraid if I go to the store, am I going to have a seizure? If I'm out, what's going to happen? And then you just kind of resolve that if I do, then I do. It's okay.
Right. Wow. So what happened to your business then? Were you able to salvage it?
Yes, I was. So I started working from home a lot. And my son came into the business at that point. Instead of going on to college, he helped me with the business. We had a direct mail business, which we still have. So that was 40 years ago. He runs it though. But that's the part where it forced me to slow down. I couldn't work the hours I used to. I used to work ridiculous hours. So I had to get sleep. Sleep is very important when you're epileptic. You have to get sleep. You have to be regimented at a certain time, and you need to get sufficient sleep, and you need to take care of yourself, and you need to slow down. So it forced me to do that. So in some ways it was a blessing. I know that sounds strange, but it altered the course of my life.
Did anyone else in your family have epilepsy? Is it hereditary?
No, I don't know if it is or not, but in my case, I had had a brain concussion when I was 8. So they found, actually this side, they found the dark spot when I had my first seizure. They found that it had been from a concussion.
No.
So it's still there, and I do get tested every year. I see my neurologist often, and they maintain the drugs, and I'm good.
Yeah, oh, that's good. We're glad to hear that. So where do you think your strength comes from?
I a lot of times I didn't have a choice. I had moved around, like even as a child, we moved around all the time. And I went to 5 different high schools in 4 different states. So I had to become strong. I had to take initiative in my life. And then I had 2 children divorced by the time I was 25 with very, very little child support and no education. So I didn't have a choice. I had to kind of put myself out there. So I guess the strength comes from not having a choice. And then most of my adult life, I was alone. So I always had to do things.
Yeah.
Did you have writing experience? I know you said you started to write about your free experience that was prompted by the infidelity. Do you have any writing background at all?
Not educational wise, but I did write I have a series of life lesson gift books that are sold in like Hallmark stores and Barnes and Noble. And they're very gifty, like to granddaughter, grandson, daughter. So other writing experience, no. I always wanted to write, but I was too busy I didn't have the education. I was too busy running the business and raising the kids. So it really wasn't an option to do any more of that.
So was it therapeutic in the beginning to start writing about all this?
Oh yeah. And it was revengeful. Even though I hadn't intended to write the novel, and the novel is not, it's fiction. It's not everything that happened to me. But yeah, and I had Andy, the protagonist in the book, do things that I had wished I had done. Yeah.
Like what?
Some of the revenge things that she took on her husband. Like she started to take some of his things. She took his little blue pills. She took his golf club. She took other things of his favorite things and she hid them. I wish I had done that. I wish I had been a little bit more creative about things.
She she seemed to have a lot of guts.
Yes. So I guess that's it. I wish I had had as much guts and determination and strength that she did. But she had trouble with it too. You know, she suffered and questioned her own femininity and questioned, everything about her own self. Like, why would he leave her? Just the same in my situation. Well, why would you do that? I wasn't good enough. I wasn't pretty enough. I wasn't smart enough. I wasn't what you wanted. And, and that not only did you do this to me, but you made sure that all of my friends and family and neighbors knew about it too.
Yes.
Did you move?
No,
Did you leave?
I'm still there.
Good for you. That's great. The characters in your book. Well, first of all, Andy, your main character, had so many friends.
Yes.
And so I assume that those friends really helped carry her through her experience.
Absolutely, as they did for me. But I developed a lot of friendships after all of this happened. I have some close friends, but I opened myself up after my partner's infidelity. And I all of a sudden found this wonderful group of friends that I didn't have before. I became more social. I think that the relationship, I didn't realize it, but it had been stifling me. I was constantly trying to make things better for him, for my partner. I was always on edge. And I didn't realize that until he was no longer in my life, that I had spent so much energy and time trying to make him happy.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was on my own, I realized that it was like a big weight was lifted off of me because I didn't have to try to please anybody anymore. I could be genuine to myself.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of rediscovery.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did that involve therapy for you?
No, I've had therapy in the past to help deal with the epilepsy, but no, I thought about it, but no, it did not.
Mm-hmm.
Not just dug myself into life a little bit more instead of retreating. I retreated for a while. I stayed in bed with the covers over my head for probably 2 months. And then when I came out of it, I came out with a bit of a vengeance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. There is so much humor in the book. It feels like the characters in your story are constantly trying to look on the bright side of things. And
Absolutely.
was that intentional on your part?
Yes, because that's how I felt. I almost feel like the day that I turned 70, that life changed for me and I changed. I started to no longer care what other people thought. I no longer cared. Not that I don't care what I look like, but I didn't spend as much time worrying about things like that. And I realized that this is like the best time of my life. I've never been happier. I've never been filled with more joy. I have so much to be thankful for and so many blessings in my life. And there is a lot of humor to be found as long as you can be comfortable with it. And like I said, it's just been turning 70 and I'll be 71 soon has been the best year of my life. And I'm very grateful for it.
In your book, that your character Andy, she seems to speak easily about topics that for others might be taboo, and like sex, right? Yeah, sex in the book, which is terrific, and how she helps her friends become more sexual and more feminine in their approach to their life,
Right.
their partners. And so what was behind writing about all of that?
I think there also, well, for me anyway, there did become an acknowledgement of sexual awareness when I realized that I still felt, even though I had been betrayed and I'm now 70 years old, I still felt this sexual being inside. And I started to mention things to other friends, just start talking generally about sex. And then you realize that they talk about it, they're receptive to it. So these conversations come out, and why not? Why not make it part of our conversations? Not all the time, but
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. You had the characters go to a lingerie store to to invest in some upgrading of their lingerie and their nightgowns, or their, what
yep.
they're, oh yeah. And the way you write about it is so real, very real. I mean, it feels real to me.
Thank you.
And yet but the characters were definitely not just jumping right into this. They were very shy about
Right.
in a store like that.
Did all your characters have partners, or were there some single women?
There was two partners, two that had partners, two with friends had partners. One was finding a new relationship. She was a recent widow and she did some online dating and she met somebody. So the other ones did. Yeah.
And what about Andy? She found someone.
She did. I didn't, but she did.
She did, huh?
And so Yeah, so I wonder how in designing the book, in going about writing it, you came up with all of these ideas.
I don't know. What happened is maybe because I didn't have the education with writing, maybe there was nobody to say that this is how you write, this is how you do it. So I just wrote and I just kept writing. And I guess it was almost through, and then it was suggested to me by somebody, I'm not sure, that I should get an editor. So when I sent her what I had completed, her advice was just keep writing, don't stop until you feel like you're done. Write whatever you want, even if you feel like it's inappropriate. Just keep writing. And then she took it and made some suggestions. She didn't make a lot of suggestions, but I made mistakes. Like I went from summer to fall to spring. I made some mistakes like that, or I got some of the names mixed up. But other than that, she allowed me to just, and she said I wrote, she said there was a lot of incorrect ways that I wrote, but she wanted me to leave it that way. And I wrote in the first person, and she wanted me to try to write in the third person, and I couldn't do it. So she said, even though some things are incorrect, she said, just leave it that way. And the publisher said to leave it that way as well. So, and if I had the education, I wouldn't have written that way.
You know too much. So you would know too much. You'd get your wings.
Right?
I think it's amazing to be a first author, find an editor, have a publisher, get this book out, and it's really been getting wonderful reception. So it seems like it was really easy, but was it easy?
No, the writing was easy. The writing part was super easy. It's all the shit that it's all the shit that comes afterward. It's finding an editor was okay, but then you have to find an agent. And that's so difficult to do. You send out your queries, you wait, you have to find the right type of agent to even send a query to. And most of the time I would just get a form thing back saying, I'm not looking for three months, or I'm busy, or like didn't seem like there was very many editors out there. But it didn't take that long. It was maybe 2 months. And then I actually had 2 offers in the span of like 3 days. So it was,
Wow.
you'll see it like time, but I guess it's not.
It is not. It's wonderful.
Really,
But I wanted it right away. I just thought,
of course.
yeah.
What were some of the things they pointed out to you that you were, quote, wrong?
Well, they did ask me to taper my language a little bit, so I did that. I was okay. There was the first agent from my publisher. She thought that it should be more realistic. I don't think that's the word that she used, but my publisher said, no, just leave it alone. Don't worry about it. And then she had a editor, like a grammatical editor, and she also said just to let it go. So I don't, if I had to go back and do those things, I don't know that I would have been able to, or would have wanted to. So I guess I got lucky with that.
So how long has the book been out?
On May 1st.
So very recently.
Yes.
And what are you being interviewed in other venues? Are you doing readings? Are you speaking to groups? What's happening with it?
Just started, because that's the other part. I didn't know I was going to have to do this. I thought, they publish it, they take it, and I can start on the next novel. I didn't know I was going to have to do all the other stuff, that I was going to be responsible for sending out press releases and to do podcasts. And so I'm late in the game doing it. So I started doing some interviews. Last week I did 2. I did one for my community. So that was fun. There was like 70 people there. That was a lot of fun. And then now she tells me that I need to do more, and I need to send articles, and I need to do that. I'm not enjoying that part. I mean, I'm enjoying talking to you, but I'm not enjoying the other stuff. But like I said, I thought they were going to do that.
So do you have another novel in the works, or that you're?
I do.
Can you tell us about it?
It's taking one of the characters, Melanie. Her husband passes. So she is looking to reinvent her life as well. And this almost happened to me. There was up in the mountains where a lot of my family live, and my son lives up there. My daughter-in-law sent me a notice about an old abandoned convent that was for sale. So I actually thought, not my character, but I actually thought that that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to go buy an old abandoned convent and live in it. So that was very enticing to me. But by the time that my daughter-in-law went there and she was filming it, and I was going to go right away, and that was how I was going to run my life, was I was going to live there. And it sold right away. But in my story, Melanie buys the convent, and she opens up like a little, she rents out rooms for other older women and single women. So they do all kinds of fun, crazy things like new calendars. They go into all kinds of ventures, and the women are different ages, but they're all over 70. And there's 5 of them.
So there's a theme, because in this book, the 3 friends are in business together, and they have a like a consignment shop.
Yes, right.
And then
I wanted Melanie to do something totally different. So she's the character that reinvents herself.
Right. Well, but they expanded by putting an old, big old barn.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
What they've done with that.
Yes.
So
you're a writer now, and you have a whole series in mind?
I do. Because one of the characters from the second book, she wasn't in the first book. I have plans for her too. So, and then I start thinking about other ones, which is why I'd rather write than have to do all of the PR type of stuff. But so I have to find a balance in case time to come to the Florida Keys and get inspired. But
yeah. So, are you we like to ask all of our guests, are you looking at your own aging? How are you thinking about your own aging?
Well, like I had said, this is the best time of my life, the best year of my life. Sure, there's certain things, like things are bulging and, different. My knees don't work as well as they used to. And I realize, like I said, I'm with my brother, and I was snorkeling, and I realized that I can't do that as well as I could before. But I just keep saying the same thing. It's the best time of my life. I feel so blessed, so honored to be this age. I have an incredible family and friends, and I just look forward to every minute of it. I'm excited about it.
It's just going to keep getting better and better.
Right? Right. And you find out, like through programs like yours, that there's all this inspiration around us. Yes. Women, like the 2 of you, like it's that I wasn't aware of, who are aging gracefully and making an impact on things. And I think that's so wonderful. And I want to be one of them. I want to be like, I had told my family, my granddaughters, they're 21, 19, and 12, that even though the one's 21, I said, I don't want you to read the book. I don't, there's just parts in it that I didn't want. And I knew one day she said, well, I read a little bit of it. And she walked over and she high-fived me and just kept going. So I think it's good that they can see that doesn't matter how old you are, you still can be very engaged in life and enjoy things.
Absolutely.
Right.
I think you're going to become a spokeswoman for moving through. Yes. And without shame, and without just, how to take these life events that start out tragic and really propel you into something quite different.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
It is wonderful. Well, Judy, thank you so much for being on the
Well,
show.
thank you.
Show your book again. And where can people get it?
It's on Amazon. It's Barnes and Noble, bookstores. That's
Okay. The Golden Years Glitch by Judy Smith.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. And listeners, make your voice heard as together we change the conversation about women aging. Explore womenover70.com and join us at Aging Reimagined Circle. And if you like this podcast, we recommend Wendy Battles. She hosts Reinvention Rebels. It's a podcast that celebrates bold women 50 to 90 plus who are rewriting the aging narrative and designing the lives they want to live, just like Judy Smith. So thank you for listening.